right, well, today we're going to be talking about the Enneagram 3, which is my type. So talk to me about us Enneagram 3s.
Oh boy. Threes typically do not like to talk about themselves. So, I mean, not in this way. So,
Well, I feel like
hopefully.
3s, there are a couple types, but I feel like 3s are one of those where when you realize your type, you're like, oh, I didn't want to be that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, it's always heartbreaking for me because I'm like, it's none of it's bad or wrong.
Right, right.
It's all just, what you
It
have
all
done to
just
survive.
is. Yeah.
And that's okay. That's good. It's beautiful that the human brain, the human body can develop
Yeah.
ways of being that allow us to survive and thrive. So, all different ways. So let's get into this. And of course, chime in because this is,
Yeah.
I'm narrative tradition and among other things. So I really like for people
Yes.
of the type to tell us who they are. So, this is the performer, the achiever, the doer. Motivated really by achieving recognition for accomplishments. And I want to break that down even a little bit because recognition is not always a trophy or,
Yes.
a cash reward. Like
Yeah.
some threes are very, very motivated by accolades or that kind of thing.
Public stuff.
Right. And
Yeah.
some threes are like, I just want everybody in my life to recognize how great I am.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
and it can be just like, tell me you see me doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So,
Absolutely.
that's where we get into the stereotypes, right? We can think, oh, only if this person is a high achiever. That was really hard for me at first as a teacher, because a lot of the threes I knew were like just bang, 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 high achievers. They just did, they got every scholarship, they got every award, right? And that's not how all threes are going to show up.
No. And not all threes are going to be concerned with appearance, although that can definitely
Right.
be an aspect of it. The way that I explain it to people is like, you can be an Enneagram 3 and it's about pie baking.
Yes.
It's about winning the 4-H trophy. It doesn't
That's
need
right.
to be like some big public social media,
That's right.
high performance in work. Like you can be a stay-at-home mom, but your Enneagram 3 achievement stuff is around like being recognized as a good mom.
That's right. It's image versus, that's what it's really about is the image that I'm crafting or that people expect of me.
Yeah.
Am I meeting that image?
Yeah.
And so, it's about securing your place in the world or, even gaining love, right? Because sometimes people will talk about the Enneagram is just 9 different ways we all try and secure love.
Yeah.
So, for the 3, it's that, it's about doing, always producing something of value that is recognizable by others, right? The hard part is it's not always about, am I doing something of value that's recognized by me?
No.
Right. So that's where the turn
what
comes.
Even is that? Yeah.
Right. That's where right, for the 3, they need to develop this understanding of what is meaningful to them inside with no one else, saying, co-signing that if it's important to you that it's of value.
Yeah.
And really like, their attention is focused on, on all these tasks that must be accomplished. They're often focused on the next project, right? Like, and it's like, this project isn't even done, but it's like, I need to secure that thing
100%
over there,
Yeah. And I think, for me, the way that this really leads and shows up, for me, I resonate more with the task and the productivity than the achievement. I am ruled by my to-do list.
Yeah.
And there is so much anxiety around, did I finish the things I was supposed to do? And supposed to being very nebulous.
Right.
And my anxiety and how I feel about myself and my entire day is based on what I got done off of a to-do list as opposed to what felt important or life-giving to me.
Yeah. It's this, 3s really are in some ways the poster child for booked and busy, right? It's like
totally.
And winning over the room. So people will talk about the chameleon-like nature of 3s, which is also related to self-deception, right? So, like if I'm really being cheeky about it, it's not that 3s are liars.
Yeah.
Now, a 3 that's really in touch with themselves will be like, oh, I'm a liar. I lie. Right. So because it's about, you're not tapping into something that's entirely not you, but you know how to bring to the surface the thing that will connect with the people that are in front of you currently.
100%.
It's not that you're fake. You're just like, you are pretty multifaceted, and you can pull up what you need to perform right now.
Yes.
You can pull up what you need to perform when you turn to this side. Right. And so a moment of horror for a 3 can be a surprise party with all of their different friend groups in one room.
Yes.
Because then it's like, oh shit, I got to be everybody to everyone at one time. Whereas you know how to be what you need to be when you have very clear, when you know what room you're working with, right? But again, that's about that like achievement.
An example of that chameleon thing and how it shows up for me is you and I would go to this Wild Goose Festival every year, and it's out camping in the woods. It's messy, it's hot. And I would always joke that I was bringing my like festival wear, right? And it was like a costume. And so I would show up in my like long breezy skirts and combat boots and like, you know, and a fedora, and I would figure out how to like get my hair to look like I had not fixed it, but I had absolutely curled it into like beachy waves. Like there was a whole look that I was curating for this festival.
That's right.
But then if I went to a blogging conference, that would be a different look. Then I would show up with my hair sleek and maybe a business suit. And so that is the Enneagram 3. And it's not that we're trying to be fake. No. We want to fit in. We want to show up, and we want to be, you know, fitting into wherever we show up.
Right. Because the 3s have a keen sense that if I don't fit in, I'm going to be put out of the community. Yeah. Right. So it is literally a survival tactic. Yeah. And we all do it to an extent. I mean, yes, there are some people who are like, I'm going to show up how I show up every room. Like 100%. But many of us have some sort of experience of altering who we are in order to survive. Yeah. And so, you know, that's why it's not about this type is like this and nobody has anything else of that.
Yes.
We actually can see ourselves in every type and we pull from every type. So we can never judge one type for being a certain way. Right.
That's so true. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's so true. Just because you do a thing that is a hallmark for another type doesn't mean you are that type, or it's not, you know, it's more so that this tendency, even of the chameleon thing, everyone does it to some extent, but for 3s, it's like, I can't stop. Like I'm pulled into it.
You're proficient at it. Like my friend, Dr. Jerome, he wrote the brain-based Enneagram. And so he actually uses the Ready test to kind of rank how proficient you are in each type. Right. So some people are just really good with the qualities that a 3 has. And that's like, you're just brilliant at it. It's become the strategy that you use the most. Yeah. Right. Those strategies of the 3. And so, you know, for 3s, when they can really like get in touch with that, like that universal law of belonging, right? Where we belong, not because we've done, but because we are, because we're a human being, because we're a child of God, right? Like when they can get into that, they can stop the self-deception, which they aren't usually even in tune with. You know, it's like you can so seamlessly become what you need to become. You're not even aware that maybe you're suppressing your own desire to be a certain way, or to, you know, need this and that, right? And that you're suppressing your self-love in order to get love from the outside, right? But when you can understand that you already belong, you do not have to work to belong, then you can open up in ways that, you know, you can show up however you want to show up. And if people have a problem with it, then that's their problem and not yours.
Yeah, absolutely. When we think about self-care for the Enneagram 3, I think that this is something that 1s, 2s, and 3s kind of share, is that lack of awareness for what they need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does self-care look like when I don't know what I need?
Yeah. Well, Yeah. You're like, so tell me.
For real, Mickey, tell me.
Self-care. I mean, this is really challenging for threes because culturally, at least in the West, we really reward three behavior.
Yes.
We just eat it up. So, you know, for threes, slowing down, which I know is like kryptonite for a three, but like truly trusting that your self-care comes when you just slow down and you're quiet and you're alone, and you don't always have to be alone, but like, you know, threes will often even vacation in a way that is that is goals, you know, that knocks off all the goals, right? Today we're gonna go here and then we're gonna go there. And
I am laughing because that is me on vacation. I'm taking my kids to Europe. The schedule I've created for us is so unattainable and absurd and so based on like ticking things off and like this is gonna be the greatest, we're gonna see all the things. And my kids are just gonna be like, we're tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100%.
Can we just go sit down?
Enneagram 3. Yeah.
Right. Like go sit down and eat a baguette. That's it. Do not go to every single site. Miss some of them and just trust that sometime in your lifetime you will get back to Europe. Like that kind of thing, right? Just like our activity today is going to be going and sitting by the river. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And that is really, really challenging.
Yeah.
So I think that's the self-care for a three is like periods of non-doing.
I completely agree. Yeah. How do we best love our Enneagram 3 friends?
Wow. Okay. So I think loving threes, understanding that threes do tend to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And not being offended by that. Like it is, and you can tell me if this feels true to you. It is pretty rare that somebody knows every part of a three. Like that is a really, really big deal when they let you into different parts of who they are.
I agree.
Yeah. So if you're that person, treating that with the sacredness it deserves. And then inviting more of it. And also be very careful to share yourself, the parts that other people don't see of you with that person, with that three, because they've done a big thing by letting you see the parts of them that don't fit the image that they'd like to portray.
I think too, for me, one of the ways that I feel very loved is I can get into, in my friendships, a cruise director role. And it does come back to that, again, that fear of like, to be needed, to be loved, I need to be productive and necessary. It is a little bit similar to the Enneagram 2, but it's performing to be loved. And so for me, I feel very loved when my friends come in and say, we've planned something. We don't even need you to plan it. Because I can start feeling like, oh, I'm just here because I plan it, and like I'm only here because I'm the one who like booked it and made the itinerary. And so I think loving an Enneagram 3 is like stepping into like being the pursuer in that area sometimes too.
Because I mean, to be honest, threes are very proficient. Usually they will get the job done.
We will.
And get it done with a sense of excellence, right? I mean, not every little thing will be perfect, but overall it will be excellent. And so like
we will hit all the Instagram spots.
Right, exactly. And to show up and not have to bring your excellence, but just be able to show up and be, that is huge. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, next we're going to hear an interview with someone who's an Enneagram 3.